friends and be more sociable, which goes hand in hand with what we're just talking about. So I wish they would pay more attention to how to, and it basically what it really means is how to learn to do networking. So as an adult, again, to be successful, it's not just what you know, it's also how do you make relationships with other people. And again, schools, in my opinion, fail in this area. They concentrate so much on academics and they put such emphasis on academics and it's so competitive. And again, for my son, I feel like we are so on like constantly on top of him. Do your homework, you have this exam, that exam, and you got to score this and you got to score that. And it's like, and I feel like that's partly it's my fault that he feels like he's inadequate because he's constantly being compared, with grades and this and that, and all he hears is I didn't do enough good enough jobs instead of saying, I'm free to explore and I want to learn for the purpose of learning, not because I have to get a good job or not because I have to get a good grade. But going back to the point, how do you make friends and be more social? This is, in my opinion, an area that, again, schools, colleges don't really pay attention to. It's not part of the curriculum. And I think there should be really like a life school that teaches all these things that are just as important as academics. I think kids are so wrapped up with their online games, they've almost lost the ability to make real people connections. They don't know how to look people in the eye when they're talking to adults or to each other. It's just, it's something that comes natural, I think, for our generation, and it's not easy for the younger generation. And unfortunately, the electronics have a lot to do with it. We had a long discussion about pros and cons of having the electronics. We had a young soldier at another session who was telling us about the fact that because he had played so many video games on a computer or on electronics, it helped him and his friends during the war last year to be able to survive when they were surrounded by the enemy. So it's, I guess there's pros and cons to everything, but I think there's more cons than pros when it comes to electronics. You really want to make sure that you're consciously learning the skills to be more social. And I think those are learnable skills. For some people, it comes naturally. For others, it doesn't. But I think you consciously can say there are techniques. You're in a networking event. You're at a function, at a company function. Somebody comes and tells them their name. I think one trick is like you repeat their name 3 times in your mind. If you repeat their name 3 times in your mind, chances are you're going to remember their name. Or you have to assign some sort of some other familiar something to this person. For example, I just had a new business banker and I need him and I need to remember about him because if something goes wrong with my business account, I want to be able to call him and I wanted to remember his name. And he said his name was Kevin Baha something. And I said, oh, Kevin. And I said to myself, like Kevin O'Leary, because, Kevin O'Leary is from Shark Tank and he's a big money guy. And there is this business banker guy who is also, related to money. So in my mind, I connected Kevin O'Leary to this guy, Kevin, my business banker. So every time I want to think about it, I said, what's his name? I can remember because I made a connection. So there are tricks and things that you can learn to consciously, be better at a certain skill. I think all skills can be learned. To some people, it comes very naturally. To others, it doesn't. But if you work on it, I think you can always be better at any skill. And the more you do it, I think, Tom, you had mentioned it last time, the more you repeat the same thing over and over again, the better you become and less mistakes you make, right? We talked about it last time. What do you guys think about that?
People also have a tendency to shift topics and lose focus. It's so the conversations are so much better when you can go deep into something that you're on the same page with, or even if you're not on the same page, get some feedback. There's such a difference in conversation with a person that knows how to conversate. You just people just are, you know, glued to them. They love talking to them because they just know how to conversate. If you say something, then they end it with something like, you know, they agree or disagree, but they say something about what you just said instead of just going off in a different direction and just like as if they weren't even listening to begin with. I've noticed that so much. I've become so aware of that now. And then the other thing is, I just had a dance party at my house and 25 people. And if you're getting into a good conversation and then you have somebody come over and just trash the conversation, I hate when that happens. Somebody comes over and they just blurt out something that it has nothing to do with nothing. And you're just like, all right, well, there that goes, you know. How do you avoid
So what
that?
do you do? I'm curious. What's your opinion? What do you do then? I mean, you're in this deep conversation about something philosophical or something really important, and the two of you are really deep into it. And then
Right.
this other person comes in and they
Right.
totally like
Well,
ruin
you
it. What do
because
you
you have manners and you're nice and you're not going to be rude, you just listen to what they say, and they usually just talk over you anyway. So you just have to. But it's just it's funny and it's frustrating at the same time. But you know, it happens. You know, but when you can really connect with somebody, that's like the most enjoyable thing for me, at least. It's a good time. You know, talking like with you, Anna. I can talk to you forever about everything. You
Thank you.
know, so
Thank you. It's very good. Very good. Alexandra, what do you think?